Hello, my wonderful 8th graders. It's Miss De Silva. I'm here for your weekly lesson. I think that today's lesson is very applicable to our lives right now because we're spending so much time in front of the screen. But even when we're in school, I think that you all experienced being on phones or computers and say hi to my dog. And how sometimes things can get ugly online. I still see that a lot as an adult, unfortunately. So I think it's really important for us to talk about. So let's get started. All right, so if you didn't already know, October is National Bullying Prevention Month. So bullying is not tolerated within Darnell. And as your counselor, I have to make sure that I clarify with you what bullying is, because sometimes bullying and conflicts with peers can get a little convoluted, and they are different. So bullying is when someone keeps being mean to someone else on purpose. Notice I said keeps being mean, so it has to happen over and over. Also, the person that's being bullied, that it's happening to, is not able to make it stop. Bullying is always unfair, so the person being bullied is being treated in an unkind or not an equal or fair way. And it's one-sided, meaning one person is causing harm to the other person, but that other person isn't doing it back. That's probably the biggest way to distinguish bullying. If two people go back and forth with hurtful words or even are physical with each other, that's not considered bullying anymore. That's a conflict. So some really simple examples of bullying are if a person's constantly hurting somebody else, ruining or destroying that other person's things or belongings, using words to hurt someone else's feelings. So that's usually the most common, is just hurtful language, which we're going to talk about today. Even leaving someone else out on purpose. If that happens multiple times, that is bullying. And unfortunately, sometimes people gain a following and they get other people to be mean to that person, or they get other people to exclude that person. So that would be another example of bullying. So today, what I want to talk to you about is responding to online hate speech. So if you don't know what I mean by hate speech, that's okay, because we're going to talk about that more. So this is the big question that you should be able to answer after this lesson today. How should you respond to online hate speech? I hope that I give you some ideas after watching this video. So we are going to look at a picture, and the picture kind of represents how powerful technology can be in our lives, and not always in a positive way. Also, we're going to go through some steps and give an example and talk about like what you could do if you were in a similar situation. And also how to kind of get yourself out in a more positive way once you're in a situation that involves hate speech. So if you're looking at this picture, I'm wondering, what does this make you wonder when you look at this picture? There are many things that could be interpreted from this artwork. And again, what we're going to talk about today is a specific scenario involving something that we would call hate speech. So, what is hate speech? If you haven't heard this term before, it's really important that you learn it now, because the more that you're on technology, you're going to be exposed to this. But even out in real life, you can. But people tend to express hate speech online more often. We're going to talk about that more later. Hate speech is when someone verbally attacks another person or another group of people just because of the group that that person belongs to. So, for example, their race, their religion, their abilities, their sexual orientation, and on and on. It could be so many other things, but people get targeted for hate speech for so many different reasons. I also want to just bring up what the word anonymous means, because this is going to come up in our scenario. Anonymous, I think you probably all already know, but it's when a person doesn't use a name or anything else that would identify them. And sometimes people go out of their way to create accounts or post things that are so hurtful that they don't want their name attached to it. So now, if you were to look at this picture and you saw it was titled online hate speech, what do you wonder about it? Like, what do you see? I'll tell you that I see the harm that can be caused to a person just from exposing themselves to the different things that are online. A lot of the hate online can really, really affect your health. In fact, now that social media has been around for more and more years, it's showing more and more of how it can have such a negative impact on our lives. So it's really important that we have control over our involvement with social media. And we know that sometimes we need to set it aside, or it's not helping our life. There's no reason to have these things in your life if they don't bring you any positivity. So let's read through a scenario and then we'll kind of go through some steps. So John and Kat had been close friends since elementary school. One day, Kat discovered a private Instagram account with John's picture on the profile. Kat already followed John on Instagram, and although a bunch of other kids from their school were listed as followers, she immediately suspected that this was not one of his actual accounts. I'm sure you guys know about fake accounts that are out there. So Kat requested to follow the account. Once she was approved, she saw what had been posted: a series of memes that showed pictures of John with anti-gay captions and comments on each post. Several of their classmates had even joined in and were also posting hurtful comments about John. This is all too common. I don't understand why, but you know it's out there. We both do. So let's kind of walk through this scenario and all of the pain that it causes other people and the whole community. So let's think. Who are the different people involved in this scenario? What kind of challenges are they facing? We have Kat, who is seeing a fake account of her friend John and mean things posted about her friend John. We also have John. He is involved in this scenario. Even though he didn't make the account, he might not even know that the account exists. But this severely impacts John, right? And other people that know John, that happen to see the account just like Kat did, and they might feel different emotions about it. They could feel upset, they could feel like it's funny, or they could just not really know what to do about it. Okay, so what do you think that each person in the dilemma is feeling? I know I already talked about this a little bit, but what could be like challenging for each of the people? So Kat might feel kind of helpless. Like helpless is, you don't really know what to do because she doesn't know who's behind the fake account. She might feel hurt and she might feel angry that whoever spent the time to create this account is making fun of John. It's a really difficult situation that Kat is in. John also does have feelings in this situation, even if he's unaware of the account. But if he were to find out, it could be hurtful, embarrassing, or even make him really angry. I mean, if this happened to me, I know I would feel all of those things and more. His feelings could be even different. We don't know if he is gay, and we don't know if he's gay and has come out or not. So, but either way, it doesn't really matter. He's going to feel hurt and angry either way. But people are focusing on him, and perhaps because of his sexual orientation, and thinking that they can target him with this hate speech through this fake account. Other people that see the account might feel lots of different emotions. They might feel hurt or angry for John, but others might think it's funny, like I said before. And others might just see it and be like, oh, another fake account, whatever. Which is really not being an upstander, is it? When you're a bystander, you really should think about the feelings of the people that are being targeted in a situation. All right, so next step. I want you to imagine all the options for how this situation could be handled. And think of some different ideas. If you were in this situation, what would you do? How would you be feeling? Whether you're Kat or John or just another person, you have the power for this to have a more positive outcome. Maybe you feel like you'd rather stay out of it, but do you really want to see something and ignore it and contribute to hate speech and the horrible impact that that can have on other people's lives? So maybe you thought that Kat or other people could tell John about the account. That's something that maybe some of you have had to do before, because I know that unfortunately this has happened at Darnell with these fake accounts. Kat or other people could also report the fake account to the app. You know that any post that is inappropriate or fake accounts or that's like threatening or alarming in any way, you can always report, because all of these apps and the social media companies have to follow up when you flag something and report it. Kat or other people that see the account could also tell a trusted adult. This has happened at Darnell, and this is what has made an impact before, that someone was courageous enough to stand up, be be an upstander rather than a bystander and tell an adult about the situation. That could be someone at home or someone at school. Even though we're not on campus, you're still talking to and seeing your teachers every day, and you can talk to them about this. So let me give you some ideas about how you can be an upstander. This is what I expect of all of you, because I know you're all capable and you don't want harm to be caused to other people. So you can confront the person. If you know a person, the person that created the fake account, or even a person that is contributing to all the negativity and posts about John, you can say something to them and tell them that you think it's wrong. Your words have a very powerful impact. What else can you do? You can reach out to the person that's being targeted, John, and support that person. Be a good friend. Tell them you don't think it's right, that it shouldn't have happened, and tell them that you're doing everything you can to get the site taken down and that you stood up for them. That would mean so much to that person. We already talked about this, but telling a trusted adult. And also reporting the post or reporting the site if it's a fake account. And finally, you can raise awareness about hate speech at your school. That means if you know it's going on and it's common, then you can stand up for other people. You can come and talk to me about it, talk to Mr. Gomez or any of your teachers, because this is not something we want in our community. And we have to take action to make sure it doesn't continue happening. People that get involved in this need to be aware of the consequences of their actions. So again, I just want to end with this because I told you how October is National Bullying Prevention Month. There are various types of bullying. Verbal bullying, where basically you're just putting someone else down with your words, is incredibly impactful to the lives of other people. It can cause other people to fall into depression or loneliness, and it can have even impact the life of another person and whether they want to continue living. And we've talked about that in the past. So your words, whether they're in person or online, are very impactful. Also, there's physical bullying, which is if a person is constantly hurt in some type of physical way. Social bullying, which is when maybe a person is left out on purpose, or where a group of people target a specific person and team up on them. And finally, cyberbullying, which is typically verbal bullying in the form of cyberbullying. Let's talk a little bit more about cyberbullying. Hate speech online does not necessarily mean that it's cyberbullying. It still needs to meet the criteria that I talked about in the beginning. But it's really important to mention because it's becoming more and more common. For some reason, technology seems to empower people to bully others. So cyberbullying is using any kind of digital device to intimidate another person, harm them, or upset them in some way. So I want you to think, when you post anything, is this going to help another person, or is this going to hurt another person? And if the answer is that it's going to hurt another person or only bring negativity to their life, why would you want to post it? Is that really going to bring more positivity to your life? I can guarantee you that you being negative to someone else does not make you feel better about yourself or more positive about your own life. So you can stand up for other people when you see them bullied online. You can say something, you can talk to that person being bullied, you can tell an adult. I also want you to think about ways you can protect yourself from being bullied online. That means don't get involved in conflict online. Don't spend too much time on social media, especially if it's all negative. And if you after putting your phone down and going through social media, if you're like, wow, I don't feel any better, then maybe you can spend that time doing something else. All right, so again, we're going to focus on being kind, courageous, by sticking up for other people or ourselves, doing the right thing. Now that this lesson's over, you should have a short quiz to complete to make sure that you understand everything that I went over. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.